Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Almighty Blues FC, a fan channel for all to see. Well, it's been a while since we've done a 100% English stream. Yes, we did a Who Am I trivia recently. I hope you guys checked it out. But I thought this was a great excuse because I am not getting any sleep the entire night. It's a huge, huge day for Chelsea Football Club. Trust me, having waited a decade for the Club World Cup final, and I remember the last time how it went. And trust me, it didn't go well. And that is why I thought this is a great excuse for me to come back with an English stream for my international viewers as well. But yes, as always, it is for everyone to see, and it's the language of football, like we say. But it is going to be a Chelsea stream again after a long time, and that is why I had to have two Chelsea boys and two of my favorite people out here in the panel. First of all, Prasanna, welcome back to Almighty Blues FC. How are you doing, brother?
Yeah, I'm doing fine. Just keeping the Chelsea women's game on the side. It's the top of the table clash, Chelsea versus Arsenal. So, yeah, man. Oh, we scored, but it's offside. Shit.
Okay,
Yeah, but
great
I've been
timing, guys.
doing good. Waiting for tomorrow. Can't wait. It's been. I remember the last time against Corinthians, we were pretty lackluster. Gary Cahill getting sent off. It was a horrible day. So, hope we make amends for it tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yeah, as in that those memories are not something that you would like to remember, but again, that's probably a motivator for us. And again, I'm pretty sure that day something that Chelsea perspective, other panelists remembers. Coachila brother, welcome
Yeah,
back to Almighty Blues FC. Been a long time. How have you been?
yeah, thank you. I've been good. I can't complain, and I've been looking forward to it. It's been a while, like you said, but more importantly, I'm happy to see you're recovering quickly from the COVID situation you told me about.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's good to see.
I then really, appreciate that. And of course, it was a very short notice, but again, I then we three Chelsea boys, which we thought is definitely, worth it. Speaking about this match, and hopefully, the voice reaches out there to our Chelsea family. Anyone watching, do like the stream, even if you watch later on. I know it's an odd time for a lot of people out there, depending on the time zone. But hopefully, you rewatch it, and of course, check out the description because, as I always say, Chelsea Perspective, one of my favorite channels in Chelsea Football Club that covers, great stuff that Coachila does. Do check it out, as well as Prasanna. Yes, Prasanna not only covers Chelsea, but a lot of cricket as well. We had a cricket stream on Almighty Blues Cricket today after a while, and yes, it's a huge day in cricket as well. But yes, coming back to Chelsea and of course the Club World Cup. Now again, this is probably the tournament or the trophy that will complete our as in our trophy set in a sense. I know that a lot of people will say that Club World Cup is not something that you really go out to actually win, and that's not why clubs are formed. These are actually for FIFA to get money. But at the end of the day, for clubs in South America, for clubs in Africa, I know as a matter of fact, in Asia as well, this tournament is huge because you are the World Cup champions. And that semi-final also said, right, Prasanna, because against Al-Hilal, the way we went, I know we did a review, but it was clear that basically which team wanted it more, and it was just the quality kind of came on top with us, and hopefully we go about it. So how are you feeling generally about this final?
I'm kind of. I can't wait for a game because it's just about 19, 20, just under 20 hours for fine to take place, and I still remember watching the previous one which we were in with my friend, and even the semi-final against Monterrey where we won 3-1. And this Al-Hilal game, we were. I thought first half we were pretty decent. We were okay. We were getting the ball in front. We were just didn't know how to just don't know what we were doing after getting into the final third. Defensively, we were quite solid. I think we were doing well. Kepa didn't have really much to do. I think probably one or two came straight at him. But second half, we were really lackluster. I don't know whether was it like a tiredness or was it the heat factor, because we all know the UAE heat conditions, they are worse. I mean, it's pretty hot compared to England. We can say it that way, but that's no excuse. We still have to get the job done. Derek to Al-Hilal, though, they played extremely well. They came on to us in the second half. They could have scored one or two goals. Kepa with another fantastic save, and we saw the game at the end. That's what mattered. And again tomorrow, another one of those performances. I won't complain as long as we lift the trophy at the end.
Yes, very well put there. Certainly, Prasanna. And I actually feel exactly what you're feeling like, right now. And yes, talking about our opponent, that is Palmeiras. I know it's a Brazilian story with Chelsea, like you mentioned earlier, Corinthians. And it's not just that. I think it's with English clubs and Brazilian clubs. I think Liverpool beat Flamengo not very
Yeah,
far back. We had that game against Corinthians. And I
yeah,
think for Palmeiras themselves, I think last year they missed out on the final just by a whisker. So
yeah,
for them as well, there is unfinished business. It'll be their first Club World Cup if in case they win, which obviously we as Chelsea fans do not want it. And for Brazilian football, also for you guys out there watching, it'll be basically their what 10th as in year in succession that they'll be attempting at winning this tournament. And ironically, the last time they won was against Chelsea. But I think Palmeiras, hats off to them because they are talking about 10, as in they are unbeaten in 10. That's some form in itself. And they are back to back Copa Libertadores, as in champions. That doesn't happen often in Copa Libertadores. We know that. So, Coachila, brother, I know, firstly, I know that you've been trying to set up your camera, but hopefully, you are able to hear us. But certainly, one quick question I have about, Palmeiras. I think the way they play, they I think really go attacking. I know in the semifinals against Al-Ahly, they were really attacking. So with that kind of attacking mindset in our team formation, would you like to see players like Jorginho and Alonso, who so-called are slower on the pace factor, or would you like to see basically Kante of the likes?
Um, Here's the thing that it's a very difficult one, because we've learned of late that without Jorginho, we just can't play. We find it difficult to string passes together to control the games. And for Chelsea to win games, in most cases, we need to control the game, at least to a certain measure. Even though if it is not controlling the game, within that is the whole 90 minutes. Even if it is the first 4 to 5 minutes, it usually leads to us winning the game. So I'd like to see Jorginho. As far as Conte, maybe later in the game, because if he starts, then we will be missing either Kovacic or Jorginho, both men of which are very very pivotal to the way we play. I mean, I understand Kante, but of late he's looked off pace. He's looked out of place. Also, he's misplaced quite a lot of ball, which is very very characteristics of him. Yeah, usually when you talk about players misplacing balls, you don't talk about Kante. So I don't necessarily want him to start. I want him to come on later in the game. Maybe by the time, maybe if we're winning and these guys are on us, then you bring him in to help, protect our defense from the opposition half, or even from maybe as number 6. Yeah. So yeah, I think no, I wouldn't want Kante to start this game. It's a difficult
Interesting.
call, but if you look at the way we played, it would not make sense for him to start.
Huge call. That's a huge call, certainly. But yes, and that's what basically decisions are made, as in whether it works or not depends on basically the day. And I think Thomas Tuchel, like the ball is in his court because yes, for people out there who still do not know, Thomas Tuchel has luckily, as in tested negative, and he is basically, I think, almost there if I'm not wrong,
he is
with the
there. He is there.
players.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, of course. So as in that's fantastic news, Prasanna. So yeah, I know it's easier said than done, and it's but obvious, but what is the difference, as in real, fact in terms of the final, right? As in, why do you think Thomas Tuchel was so kind of, hurried up, going all the way? I know it's a bit risky as well, supposedly, but again, you think it's really worth it, and what difference will Thomas Tuchel really make?
I think it is because it is still a final to play, final and a big trophy to play for. So if you are given a chance to, if you're testing negative and if you're given a chance to go there and even though it's just for one day, you will obviously take it because it is a final at the end of the day, and obviously you want to train your boys and you want to be there. You want to be there, seeing out everything and all. Yes, you do things over Zoom. You can do things over media, a team stock or whatever, but that comes nowhere near when you do it face to face and do it person to person. And then that's one thing. And probably when Tuchel is not on the sidelines, some things may not be communicated through, say, by the assistant coach to the players. I think compared to when he is there on field. So I think him being there, him looking over all the proceedings, I think that should bode well for us. And And in terms of being in person and just like kind of giving out instructions instead of just trying to do over a call to the assistant manager who might not get it properly or something. I think him being there is just best for us.
Yeah, and that's a fair point because yes, certainly as in that's the difference maker in a sense, right? We saw that I think the game against Plymouth and of course that the game against Al-Hilal, things were pretty close and probably it came down to that clutch moment and Alonso out of all in that Plymouth game and of course in the game against Al-Hilal it was basically as in Lukaku stood up, but as in those are possibly those moments that we may not get in the final and we may need that extra as in touch on the touch line because with Tuchel being there, we know his antics, it kind of helps. And of course, with the referee, we saw against Al-Hilal, the players were like, as in falling off like nine pins. I don't know what was that. I hope Palmeiras are not, up to the same thing because we know, as in, let's be honest, nothing against South American football, but we know in South America, as in how things are, as in really, as in the games management is really up there, right up there, right?
Yeah.
So, Coachila, as in back to you, brother. As in, firstly, good to see you again. But certainly, in terms of basically upfront, as in we can speak about Lukaku as much as we like. I know that you do stream on your channel, great stream that as well on Chelsea perspective. And I know, as a matter of fact, you believe that okay, we've paid 98 million for the guy. The guy has played, as in he has basically scored finally. So it is but obvious that you would want him in a big final and basically prove his doubters wrong. But at the same time, to think about it, really, as in player by player, Havertz probably, as in let's be honest, he looks slightly better than Lukaku in those 90 minutes that we had in Al-Hilal, and Ziyech has been a man in form. And Mason Mount is a talisman, maybe like a Kante. I think you can say that, as in you can probably leave one of them two out and not both. I don't know if you know what I mean. As in terms of the work rate, in terms of basically the zeal on the pitch, with Kante and Mason Mount both being out. So it puts Tuchel and management in a conundrum, right? As in which three attackers would you put, or maybe you'll change the formation, Coachila. What would you go for?
Here's the thing. Again, you said something about Kai Havertz, about that he was slightly better than Romelu Lukaku in that semi-final game. The truth is, he is that is generations better than Romelu Lukaku in that game. It's just that Kai Havertz input. He's the kind of player I usually refer to Kanu Wanko when I talk about him. You don't know what he's doing on the pitch until you take him off.
Yeah.
Even though he didn't score. But you could see how he helped us play. He drops deep, opens up. Whenever we have the ball, he's available to help. And that's what the kind of difference he makes. We were able to operate in the final third seamlessly because he was there. He was always open. So, but coming to your point, if N'Golo Kante is not going to play, then it's pivotal that Mason Mount starts. Even though he still looks mentally tired, but his energy is still there. He can help us press from the front. He can help us, that battle spirit we need. He brings it in the absence of N'Golo Kante. Because again, I'm not sure Kante will start. If he starts, it's a good thing. But if he starts, that means there will be a lot of reshuffling up front.
Yeah,
you understand? If he starts, probably Mason Mount may not start, but I see Kai Havertz starting. But then again, it's like we said before. We've always talked about this. Thomas Tuchel, you never know. When you think player A starts, he fields player B. But my point is, if Mount will start, then be rest assured Kante will not be on the pitch. But if Kante starts, be rest assured that Mount will not be on the pitch. So two of them offer something that is important to us, but I don't think Tuchel will go all the way to starting both because Mount is mentally tired, still looks like it. Kante doesn't look fully fit. It doesn't look like that Kante we know. He misplaces, like we've talked about, he misplaces the ball more than we've seen him doing the pass. That's unlike him. So something isn't quite, something is just out of place when you talk about Kante.
True. And then I can get that. Again, I know we are as Chelsea fans spoiled and we want Kante as in to be the Superman that he always is, right? But the fact is, they are all kind of coming back. Havertz, Kante, in a sense, I know Lukaku, people say no, he's kind of played enough, but again, he's been kind of in and out of the side in the last couple of months, generally speaking. So I can see where you're coming from, and yeah, as in there are two ways of looking at it. The way I see it, like yeah, as in you may have basically your best 11 on the pitch to begin, go for the kill, and that's what as a Chelsea fan for so many years that I'm seeing. As in, I really want that to happen eventually. That probably under Lampard with it, but defensively we're so bad. But Tuchel at the same time, we know how he kind of he believes in managing games. He believes in probably looking at the opposition and then maybe tweaking it slightly, in-game management that you call, right? That was probably missing in the last couple of games in Tuchel's absence, and that will be back with Tuchel with being back. And on the other hand, you can say that hey, start with Jorginho, start with basically as in Ziyech, as in these are ball players that you have who will probably help, as in probably have those passes that we need, which we lack, maybe with a destroyer in Kante being there. So that's two ways of looking at it. But I think Blue Clouds TV again, big up to Blue Clouds TV people. Anyone watching, do check out Blue Clouds TV as well as Chelsea Perspective, Prasanna, Balakrishnan, and of course Almighty Blues FC and Almighty Blues Cricket. Now he talks about Kepa, Prasanna. I know that we've discussed this in the past, and I'm saying that because we always knew about the African Cup of Nations coming, and hats off to Mendy to having won it. But the fact that now Mendy has won it, he's come with great confidence, and we know in the past that Tuchel has gone on record saying that Mendy is a number one. At the same time, Kepa has done a madness. I think that's an understatement. What he did, of course, against Plymouth, and of course, whatever opportunities he's got. Logic will say that we should play our best 11 because of what happened in the FA Cup final, Prasanna. But would you actually go in for Kepa just for continuity and, of course, to build his confidence and up his value?
So tough. That's a sticky one still, because even the FA Cup one, that goal was just something out of the world. I mean, people saying, "Oh, Mendy is taller, he would have saved it," but I still think that's a brilliant strike from Yuri Tielemans.
Yeah.
But I think other than that, he didn't do anything bad in that final. It's just that goal went in, and apparently he wasn't that 2 inch or 1 inch taller, so he couldn't have got to it, something like that. But he has been superb for us. Even without Mendy, he's been doing well. So I would start Mendy, to be honest, because that is our first 11. I mean, when our best players are back, I want us to start them. But even if Kepa starts, I won't be disappointed.
Okay, I think that's a great way of putting it. Coachila, brother, how about you?
No. Listen, the truth is, Mendy is our number one, right? And you must remember, Kepa Arrizabalaga, he's not a backup goalkeeper, after all. He's a starter. He had issues. He had confidence issues under Frank Lampard, and Frank did not manage the issue very well. So it affected him beyond that is the length of time it should affect him. He's a good goalkeeper. He has great reflexes. And actually, if you check statistics, there are aspects where he's better than Mendy. And the truth is, he's a better sweeper keeper than Edouard Mendy. He's better with his feet than Edouard Mendy. Mendy beats him just with high claims. And sometimes Mendy, in some cases, Mendy can show better reflexes than Kepa Arrizabalaga. Or maybe you could say Mendy is mentally stronger than Kepa Arrizabalaga. But here is the thing. Kepa started the competition. And in the absence of Mendy overall, he hasn't put a foot wrong.
No,
he's been exactly. And there are games that when you look at them, you realize, wait, it was because of Kepa Arrizabalaga that we got a point out of this game, or actually we won this game. And Al-Hilal could have scored 2 goals, two good goals, but he was there. So now again, another point is this: the club, if they get the chance, the slightest opportunity they get, even for 35 million pounds, they will sell him. And to sell him, he has to play. You get the point now. And now the guy is on a high. He's high on confidence right now. If you dare bench him in this final, he's going to hate you. He's not going to just hate you. Whenever you call him again, he will not. It will be difficult for him to be able to give 100% because he will hit his confidence so hard. You're basically telling him you're crap. You've just been there because Mendy left. Even before Mendy left, a few games before Mendy left, I was calling for him to start playing. That Mendy will understand. If you explain to Mendy, look, we want this guy to start being between the sticks even before you leave, so it doesn't seem like, oh, now Mendy is gone, so now you remember me. He's a great professional, actually, because have you seen him complain that much? No. And then he starts this game, and then in the final, he's been playing since Mendy was gone, and then in the finals, you're telling him, you got to sit out this one because Mendy is back. That, number one, it's not fair. The whole squad will be affected, especially the Spanish representatives in our club. They will not be happy. It can cause a lot of problems. How are you going to explain it to him, Pras?
Yeah. More importantly, Saul is a great example, right? Because sorry to cut you there, but I think Saul, he had one great performance after that, so many bad weeks of performances, and then he's suddenly gone. Like, he's not to be found anywhere. And to happen, I see your point, because I know it's a coincidence that he's Spanish, but again, we know as humans, we tend to kind of, subconsciously think, and that's what we don't want our young squad to think. And of course, he deserves the spot. I think that's the bottom line. And
if I can still come in, if you remember, I said this is an opportunity for the club to sell him if they really want to sell him. And if you drop him, it will affect his confidence. If I was actually Tuchel, I would let Kepa Arrizabalaga finish the season. As not really, it's not gonna be playing all the games, but at least you start switching them, showing them I trust you. Now we have two good goalkeepers, but if you play Mendy plays, if you play Mendy plays that way. That's me.
100%. I agree. Like, honestly, like the starting 11 which I showed, just a few minutes back for people, as in, I personally would probably make only one change to that particular 11, and let me actually try and show that again. But yeah, as in, for me, the only reason why I would actually bring in Kante is because of the fact that it's a final, it's a cup final, and we know Kante in cup finals, and that is something that they have made for each other, and that's the only thing. Otherwise, yes, I agree with, I think, what points you guys have made, because it's not like any other players are playing out of this world, but Kepa is certainly. Kepa is someone who's actually a standout performer, and most of the other 11 are not really great performers. Maybe Ziyech, you can say, but others are like, okay, they're just about okay. Kovacic has been great, yes. So apart from these three players,
they get the job done.
Exactly. So I think in this particular team, Prasanna, another Spanish player, and that is Marcos Alonso, Pablo Escobar. So this guy, like, I don't know, like, he became a hero against Plymouth, against the highly Plymouth. He scored the winner, of course. But we always kind of laugh at him. But the fact is, this guy always delivers, or more or less always delivers in finals and cup competitions in particular, against basically teams when it matters. And that is the only reason why I still would continue him. But again, there is an argument that you might as well go four at the back if you want to fit in Mason Mount. And then play Sarr to kind of protect that left wing, because I think in Palmeiras there is Dudu, and Dudu was a Brazilian national. He is probably one of them who's been, he's been unfair not to be picked in the Brazilian national team of late. And also they have a great goalkeeper. So Pablo Escobar is probably a main striker, right? As in, Waverton needs to be beaten. Prasanna, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. If you play a back three, you play Alonso at left wing back. But if you play a back four, you play Malang Sarr there, because Alonso at left back is complete the sentence. I don't want to say any further.
Yeah,
beep. Yeah, and just even about Mendy and Kepa. Even when Mendy was substituted for Kepa in the Super Cup final, just before taking penalties, he was like, okay, cool. He's better than me in taking penalty, in saving penalties. So I don't have anything against Kepa. I'm just saying that if either of the two starts, I won't have any problems. That's the thing, because we have two excellent goalkeepers, and Kepa has been stepping up for so long. We look at the way he started under Sarri, the way he went under Lampard. I mean, it was going like, because he was a panic buy for obvious reasons, and he was not performing even up to scratch. We would see most goals. He would just stand there and, kind of not even dive. That's the problem.
Exactly. No, that's a great point.
But under Tuchel, he has turned it on massively. And penalties, if you want to save a penalty, call Kepa. Simple as that. If this goes to penalties, we are winning this hands down. But
as in, I hope not. Come on, like,
I know that. But God forbid it doesn't go up to that. But I'm saying even if the worst case scenario, if it goes to penalties, I mean, you get what I mean, right? Worst case.
Yeah, as in well put there, Prasanna. But that's the thing, right? As in Kepa, as much as he's been brilliant, and let's reiterate that. But at the end of the day, he's human. So that
Yeah.
one error, I just don't want it to go that way, because that one error or one thing that will be taken against him, which we don't want to give an opportunity. And then after so much hard work that he's put in, the
Yeah.
club, as in the goalkeeping coaches have put in, we don't want his value again to go down. Because like Coachila said, I think if we get a decent offer, we have to basically as in be ready to give him in the summer. But again, summer is a long
I don't
time.
think we should sell him, though, to be honest. I mean, but
yeah, he probably deserves
It's
for sure.
the issue goes beyond us wanting to sell him or not. He
Yeah.
is Spanish international, and
Yeah.
he's still young. And at this point, I think he would want to represent his country even in the next World Cup. So if he gets a chance, a decent offer, he himself gets an offer from other club, he would want to leave. I know some people argue he earns a lot of money. No, he's still young. He can still go somewhere else, play more games, and start earning more than he's earning at Chelsea right now. So to me, I think it goes beyond us wanting to sell or not. Kepa is young, and he has great potentials. At one time, Madrid wanted him. It was just that Zidane didn't like him. That was why Madrid didn't go for him. So I don't think it's just about us wanting to sell him. It's about the player himself. If he wants his international future to be safe, he has to leave Chelsea.
Yeah, I get that. As long as he doesn't go AWOL like a certain Real Madrid goalkeeper, I'm fine with that.
I think he's a better professional than that guy.
Yeah.
Oh man, let's not remember the bad things today. But yeah, certainly probably one
Yeah,
motivation
sorry.
that
We kind of deviated off topic. So could you go back to the lineup?
just going
We
back
were
to
talking
lineup.
lineups.
I actually wanted to get your opinion also on the right wing back situation. I know it's Azpilicueta, talisman, captain, fantastic. He's got to be there. You'll probably say that. But see, that's the thing, right? In recent games, especially, again, Azpilicueta has proven that he still got it in him. Like even in that game against Plymouth, I know that he got a great goal. Plus the fact that against Al-Hilal, for me, along with maybe Christensen, I think probably our right side in general looked far better. Christensen, Azpilicueta, and Ziyech compared to our left-hand side. So I don't know, like there is an argument saying that Azpilicueta will hopefully win, the Club World Cup tomorrow, today in parts of the world.
I think he has to start, because I think from the last final, he's the only remaining person in the squad.
Yeah, in the squad, exactly. But
he starts.
We don't have an option anyway. Yeah, right.
Other than that, also,
he would want to make.
Sorry, go ahead, Price.
Yeah, I think, and he is our go-to man in finals. We all have seen that he knows what it is to put in a captain's performance. We even saw it in the UCL final. Absolutely brilliant. And
other than that, from
finals, and I think he will start, and hopefully he can complete this set, because he has won all the others. Hopefully he can do this one as well. Yeah, Coachila, go on.
Yeah, I was going to say, other than his, usually he puts great performances at big games and in finals also. From a tactical perspective, we do not have a defined defensive midfielder. So him being there provides more security for our defense, because we don't have Kante there. So him being there helps us defensively. I know, but offensively, he reduces our offensive. The game reduces to a certain measure, because that's not his. He's not an attacking player or otherwise. But because Kante isn't there, I think he will most definitely start.
As in, come on, Azpilicueta has to start. Like, there's not even a question, to be very honest. But what I was also trying to get to is basically, yes, I know, Coachila, we discussed on your stream about Azpilicueta. I know he should get the chance of just choosing whether it's Chelsea Football Club or Barcelona come the summer. And probably, hopefully, he'll win the entire set tomorrow. He'll complete, right? But I still am of the opinion with probably, yes, Marcus Alonso, Azpilicueta. I don't honestly see both being here. At least one definitely is going in the summer. But these are the only two Premier League winners we have, Coachila, in the squad. And we know that Premier League has been eluding us for a good while. So won't you have the opinion to just having him around, just like John Terry was in 2017? Do you think it's worth it to actually speak over Azpilicueta and actually, kind of convince him?
I think you made a great argument, and the truth is, Azpilicueta leaving depends on Rudiger's situation. Because
leadership team, basically, right?
Yeah, exactly. Just how do I? How's the better way to continuity or something like that? To some measure, it's important, and strong character like the two of them. Yes, we still have Thiago Silva, but there's something different that what's his name? Cesar Azpilicueta brings to the team. There's something different that Antonio Rudiger brings to the team. So I'm thinking the club is not going to let Cesar Azpilicueta and Antonio Rudiger leave. If Cesar Azpilicueta is going to leave, I don't think the club will let Rudiger leave. You can count on Andreas Christensen, because I don't think he just is just. I mean, I don't think he has those leadership quality that those two guys have. For instance, Antonio Rudiger doesn't have the armband, but he leads by example. On the pitch, he never stops giving 100% until the man in the middle blows the whistle. Azpilicueta leads by speaking. He speaks in the dressing room. We've learned that before. Even on the pitch, sometimes you see him talk to his fellow defenders. So I don't think both will leave. So Azpilicueta leaving depends on how Rudiger's situation, how it turns out. If Rudiger stays, the club might let him leave. But for me, not letting him leave now, there's a risk, because he's already 30, right? And at Chelsea, Chelsea wants your third. Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry. No, one quick point, I'll come in between, because see, Azpilicueta, apart from the things that you already mentioned, Coachila, I think one thing is versatility, which is always taken for granted with Azpilicueta. Trust me, he kind of covers at least 2 to 3 players in the season, right? That's how versatile he is. And it's very difficult to find someone. Yes, a lot of versatile players are there. I remember a few years ago, Aki was probably spoken about as a potential future versatile player for Chelsea. But are they having that level of quality in each position? Azpilicueta has having that level of quality, maybe not as much as what he used to have a year or two earlier, but still, I would say he still has it in him to play it at that level of quality if called upon in any position. Right?
Yeah, but then again, he can't cover every position effectively, and you get the point now. And the relationship is at stake, and I don't think Chelsea and the relationship is at stake. And then also there's how much you give them. We already have a salary issue right now, and that's why Rudiger is asking as much as he's asking. You know how much Callum Hudson-Odoi earns weekly. You know how much even the younger players earns weekly. So the moment you give them something beyond a certain measure, the moment it is time to renew the contract of other players in the club, then another trouble starts, because these players know how much their teammates earn. So at this age also, once you hit 30, Chelsea are always reluctant to give you a contract extension that is a long-term contract. I think that's the best term for it. So in terms of Cesar Azpilicueta, Chelsea will not give him up to what Barcelona can give him, no matter how you see it, because they're going to get him on a free.
Correct.
You get that point now. So to him, it's going back home. It's also earning more money.
And he'll be the main man there, because
because they know the quality he brings. And then again, I'm sure he would want to go to the World Cup. Or would it be late then? World Cup is in June, right?
World Cup, I think, November, December, from what I know.
Yeah,
Qatar, exactly. So he will still get a chance to go if he goes to Barcelona, because he'll be playing every game. But at Chelsea right now, he's not guaranteed. By the time Chelsea make a few signings, he'll probably be only called upon when there's an issue. Just like just like the case was under Frank Lampard.
Yeah, and that's a great call. But yes, welcome back, Taron. Very good to have you. I know
good to be on the panel with this man again. It's been about how many years ago? 15 years ago?
That's not what I mean.
I know. Of course, Prasanna is here as well, but I think me, Coachila, and Taron, it's really been a good while. We've been very frequent in the past, but absolutely, fantastic to have Taron. Again, Taron, honestly, I couldn't sleep entire night because I remember, that memories about Corinthians has been coming to me from the time I did a stream a few hours ago, and I okay, fine. I can see again a Brazilian team doing that to us because I watched that semis highlights against Al-Ahly that they had. So Taron, like overall, like how are you feeling about the squad? Tuchel coming obviously helps, but what is your gut feel?
I'm very confident. I think a lot of people picked up on our second half performance in that game against Al-Hilal. But I thought in the first half we looked much better, in my opinion. We looked fluid in the final third. Ziyech starting to pick up his form. Lukaku is, especially after that goal, I thought he really impressed me. He was, if you saw a lot of the direct balls straight into his feet from Kovacic, he was looking very natural. And I just felt that was working with the wing-backs for the first time. The gegenpressing was much more effective in the wing-back system more than I thought the back. So I felt very good. And obviously the second half, you can see the players move from, 4 degrees right now in the UK to 35 degrees in this humidity. It's going to cause an impact, especially after a 2-week break as well. So I knew something was going to happen. As long as we get the win in these knockout games, you can't really expect it to be a smashing all the time. The main thing is you get over that final whistle with a victory. But I saw promising signs in this game. It's just that we can, despite Kovacic playing 90 minutes, Lukaku playing 90 minutes, off the back of that 120 against Plymouth, it's going to be hard to recreate that kind of fitness for this game against Palmeiras. But hopefully we can, and I believe we can. But I mean, the Kepa Mendy situation is, I saw a lot in this conversation, so that's an interesting one as well.
Yeah, I think that's kind of kind of sensitive as well because of what Kepa has gone through. But at the same time, Mendy, we all kind of take pride in him. But guys, like a question from Blue Clouds TV about 3 at the back, 4 at the back. Like we have really chopped and changed in the last few weeks. I think probably it was a time when Tuchel was forced, and of course the team management with injuries and so on and so forth. At the same time, it was the best chance to experiment after the City game, especially. But Prasanna, coming back to this. Like I know you said about Malang Sarr being your preference if we play 4 at the back, but honestly, as a Chelsea fan, I know we are playing a big final and we'll probably go with tried and tested. But what do you want our formation to be going forward, Prasanna?
3-5-2. I mean, it's a tried and tested. It's worked before. We don't want to change it just because it's a final, and it has worked for us. And I just hope we play that tomorrow. That is our strength. That has worked for us for the past couple of years. Let's just carry it on. We had to change in the middle because for injury issues. But now that we are back to our traditional back three, this should be what we continue with, until there's another injury scare. God forbid. Hope that doesn't come one.
Yeah, because I think even after this, I think there's a big, obviously, the little games coming up, and of course, Premier League, which is still not done, right? Let's remind ourselves what's been happening in this week. Again, the top 4 is getting closer than ever. Arsenal, out of all teams, are really that close. So I know that Prasanna mentioned the 3-4-3 or 3-5-2 Coachila, that's what we went. But the wide players, they're not really so effective. Just not beating players, not so direct. But again, because of the fact that it's Palmeiras, Coachila, do you see us actually, needing that player who just runs at those defenders, and we actually, creating that pressure up front? So one person who's really been out of form, let's be honest, is Hudson-Odoi. He's really not, developed the way we wanted him to. But do you think Coachila, Hudson-Odoi being introduced in this particular game, or even Pulisic? Like I know he was rested last time because of the temperature difference, but would you actually have something out of the box for us to begin with? No,
I don't think Pulisic might get a few minutes, but I don't think he starts. And the truth is, you could argue he's been played out of position, but then again, the truth is he hasn't helped his case. He's gotten so many opportunities to prove that he can do it consistently, and he didn't. I'm not going to be biased here for obvious reason. I've been honest, but Callum Hudson-Odoi himself, I think we're expecting too much of the kid. We're expecting him to score 8 goals, 5 goals, 10 goals. No, he's maturing. And because he's maturing, he drops some of those things that brought him to limelight, those skillful moves, some of which were unnecessary dribbles sometimes. But those are the things that make most people go, wow, look at Hudson-Odoi. And sometimes he takes some players on. But the ball ends up in the corner kick or throw-in or something like that and nothing out of it. But as he's maturing, he's dropping some of those things. So to some people, he's not doing well. But if you go back and look at his numbers, he's actually one of the best creators we have in the team right now. He's created a few chances. His case is just more like that of Jorginho when he created so many chances, but our attackers weren't putting the chances away, so we're going, whoa, he doesn't create anything. Callum Hudson-Odoi has created a few, and he's using his brain, his game, his play, he's maturing. And that's why Tuchel sees all those things. That's why even after some people are complaining, he still plays him. But because we're expecting so much of him, a single mistake he makes gets overblown. He might start, he might get a chance to start, but it's very tight right now because most definitely Ziyech will start. And I see Kai Havertz starts because he brings something different. So that space, that's left-hand side, he could get a chance to start. If not, it's difficult to say anyway. But is he good enough? He's good enough, and he brings direct play for us that no other member of the team does as well as he does.
True. Taron, again, we've been speaking about as in us creating chances, not taking chances, but like in terms of midfield alone, right? As in, there is huge news today from Leicester coming about Tielemans, I think, rejecting an extension to his contract. And I know in the past, very briefly though, we were linked as well. Do you think a player like Tielemans, like I know it's very early days, but do you think someone like him could possibly fit at Chelsea? As in, I know he probably would expect to start. He will not get to start at Chelsea probably, but is that not something we ought to do, like a City, what in long run does?
I think to some extent, because we've seen if you look at Chelsea over the years, we usually work well with a creative midfielder. You look at your Fabregases, we work well with goal scorer midfielders. Look at your Lampards. If you look at the Chelsea history, he does kind of fit into that in total. But as a player, I'm not too convinced by Tielemans. I've saw him on many occasions, but he is quite inconsistent in my opinion. There's some games, especially the bigger games, where he does drift out of them. He loses the ball quite a lot. He's not as fierce in his tackles, and there's some games where he's one of the best midfielders in the Premier League. So my inconsistency with Tielemans is we don't need any more inconsistent players in these teams. In our team especially, you just mentioned Hudson-Odoi there. For me, Hudson-Odoi is very, very inconsistent, and that is a reason why he's not really gotten to the top of his game recently. He drops a 10 out of 10 one game, and then the next game it can be a 5. You don't really realize he's even playing. I think that was the issue with Tuchel and Lampard was his inconsistency. So I think we need some player in there who's going to deliver for 40 to 45 games a season. You look at Declan Rice's, your Tchouaméni's, all of these kind of players rarely ever drop below an 8 out of 10. And right now, if we're competing in 4, 5, 6 trophies every single season, then we need someone like that in our team. And Jorginho, to some extent last season, after Tuchel came in, was that player. Every single game, if he played well, the team played well. And 90% of the time he did play well, apart from the Arsenal game where he kind of played it back to Edouard. I think it was Kepa that game, actually.
Kepa, yeah.
It was Kepa.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. We need some players in this team. In my opinion, every single player in this team should be someone who can perform for a good 40 games a season. If we want to win the Premier League, you look at your Man City. Do any players in that team ever drop below a 7 out of 10 in any game, whether it's a big game, low game? Same with Liverpool. You look at them yesterday. Such a great performance with Luis Diaz coming in, another great consistent player. So I think if we really want to go back to winning leagues every single year, like a Mourinho's and your Ancelotti's, then we need to have the most consistent players. And for me, Tielemans is the bar.
Wow, that's where I miss Taron. If you can let me 1 second, that's why I miss him. You see the point there. At Man City, they have starters. They don't have backups and starters. At Chelsea, we have backups and starters. And when starters gets injured, we have backups, and then we have issue. If we have starters all through, if Chile is out of the team, Alonso comes in and we're confident. But once Chile is out of the team, we see Alonso, we go, oh, we're in trouble. The same thing so we have starters and backups, while Man City have starters all through. Any person that comes in gets the job done. That's that's why I miss Taron. Honestly.
Absolutely. I think a great point, Taron, that because yes, I think like
look at even City yesterday. I think they had Gundogan on the bench, they had Grealish on the bench,
and those are starters.
Point. But we used to be the same. Trust me, we used to be the same. And actually, City have picked a leaf out of Chelsea's book because we know mid 2000s what we were. As in, I remember the days when we had Joe Cole, Anelka, Balak times on the bench. As in that was phenomenal bench. But like that is what, as in another player which comes to mind to me is Prasanna Werner. Timo Werner, like as much as a lot of us Chelsea fans went on many streams and we said that okay, Lukaku wasn't fit. And we weren't able to see, Timo Werner and Lukaku play together. and that's something that we wanted to see. But the moment, I think, except for the one game where Werner scored, I remember in the rain. I don't quite recall which game was Southampton anyway. So apart from that game, I don't think they've really clicked it together. Even in the last game, I know Timo Werner came late on, but he isn't really clicking. So Prasanna, do you read into these stories about Werner wanting out? As in, what is the value that Werner is really adding to Chelsea Football Club?
I mean, you read stories everywhere. Whether you want to believe them or not, that's a totally different thing altogether. And he does add, because even if he does, I mean, the problem with him is just his scoring, because his off the ball work is probably phenomenal. He tracks back. He puts in 100% effort at least, and that is what you want to see. What I mean, you can have bad performance, you can have an extremely good performance, but when you put the graft in, and if you put in the work, if you perform 100%, and then you don't get the results, you can hold up your hands and say, okay, I've tried my best. After this, beyond this, I cannot do. And that is what Werner brings to the team. I think in probably my front three tomorrow, there's so many options to choose from. It could be.
Yeah, I know I'm kind of confusing you, but that's the thing, right? I think
it could be the lineup which you put out, which was Ziyech, Havertz, and Lukaku. Is that what you put out?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it could be maybe even Ziyech, Mount, and Havertz in the false nine. Or maybe even Ziyech has to start. He's been playing brilliantly. I don't think we can drop him.
Oh, he's undroppable at the moment.
Yeah. So Ziyech, or maybe even Ziyech, Werner, Havertz, because Werner and Havertz, they were still getting goals last season.
Yeah,
through one or the other.
Together.
Yeah, through one or the other. So it's a tough one tomorrow, but I think Tuchel will definitely start Lukaku. And whether it's Werner or Havertz, or even Mount in the left position, that remains to be seen.
What is your call, Taron? I know when we discussed, you weren't there in the stream. So what's your call in terms of the starting 11? And let's predict as well.
Can you show the screen again while we talk about it?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I might as well say my take that I saw a lot of debate on this stream about the Kepa situation, especially from Coachila when I was watching earlier. So I just wanted to quickly give my take on this, if you don't mind, guys.
Yes.
I understand the sentiment factor, all about players. I understand the sentiment, all about the players and how they feel. But the majority of my belief, I don't follow the players. I follow Chelsea. I follow Chelsea at games. I support them live. I believe everything. I want the club to do better among anyone. And in my opinion, I'd go with Mendy tomorrow. I want our best players on the pitch. I understand Kepa's been in good form and he's led us to this final. But Mendy won us the Champions League last season with his performances. So I don't understand why he doesn't get the chance. It's not like he's not match fit as well. He's just come off a great final for Senegal. Believe a clean sheet. Pretty sure a clean sheet. 0-0. Pretty sure it was. So I think we go with Mendy tomorrow.
And he saved a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Good point.
At one point, guys...
that was a poor penalty, man.
Well, we still have to save it. I mean...
No, I'm just kidding. He saved the penalty. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't even dive the right way for us.
I mean, you guys compare that. You said, I think it was one of you guys said that Kepa's better reflexes than Mendy at some stage. But I think one thing that Mendy has is a saving of long shots, especially higher long shots. One on a Wednesday.
High claims and all that, yeah.
If you saw the long shot to Kepa Wednesday, the amazing save, it was more towards the middle of the goal. But if you remember against Zenit, the 3-3 game, the shot was quite high and Kepa can receive it. So I think Mendy is better at saving his area. He's more composed. He has a better mentality. He's better at saving long shots. In my opinion, his reflexes are better as well. But I think Kepa is more of a confidence player. But I think in a final, we need someone who doesn't take emotional stuff into account. He just does the job on the day. You saw.
But do you think it will happen? Do you think Tuchel will bench Kepa tomorrow?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm very, very confident he's going to do that. Yeah.
Wow, as an interesting. But like Taron, apart from that, like, do you see any major changes? What's your preference in terms of the attackers and all? Like, just to take your opinion.
I think I saw Ankit as well. You said earlier that Kante should start because he's great in finals. But I think when Kante came on at the weekend, we lost a bit of the balance on the weekend, on Wednesday. We lost a bit of the balance in the midfield and we were losing possession and they were penetrating our midfield zones quite a lot. So I say, yeah, we keep with this midfield duo. I think Coachila made a great point earlier about Havertz and how good he is, how people don't really see how good he is off the ball. I think he opens up a lot of space. His clever runs, especially he makes a run down the left channel a lot off Alonso, and that leaves a lot of space for Lukaku. He drags out a defender with him on the left, another centre back, and that leaves space for Lukaku to get isolated with one defender. And that's when Kovacic can play that direct ball into him. And Prasanna said a lot of great stuff about this lineup. So yeah, I'm sticking with this exact same lineup apart from Kepa and goal. I'm gonna put Mendy inside. But I think Lukaku, like I said, he was very impressive in that game, in my opinion. So I'd go Lukaku. Just if
he did better than expected, if you ask me. But for me, I would take Alonso wouldn't start, even if we're playing 3 at the back. I'd still play Sa. Because the truth is, we're not sure how that is. We don't watch these guys day in, day out. And I think Tuchel will be concerned to some measure also. And they're used to the weather. It's not much different from what they have in Brazil. So I think they'll be they're not going to be comfortable with it, but they can deal with it better than our players would do. So I'd be cautious. I will not start Alonso in this game. I'd rather bring him on later so that we'll show that we're defensively sound. I'd rather start there. And I like the kid. I like his spirit. He has like I said before, he has that Rudiger spirit in him. He has that aggression. He has that fight. You don't bully him. He gets back at you immediately. So, and he has the pace too. He can defend very well. Aerially, he's good. So I'd rather start him than Alonso.
Quickly, Taron, you mentioned Lukaku looked impressive. I think that Inter kit helped him probably.
I think we should just play with that kit. I think we should do a petition on Twitter to play with that kit. Maybe at the weekend.
Take it home and hang it where you can see it all the time.
Lukaku he's a weird guy, man. He's a weird guy. He's a good player. So
come on, Taron. Let's be positive. Lukaku positive. That's what we need for this game. But yeah, as in, I know we've been speaking for almost 15 minutes. But yeah, great chat. This, of course, great to have. Of course, Coachila back, Taron back, and of course Prasanna as always. But now is basically the big call, the predictions, guys. Taron, what's your score prediction and who's your scorer?
I'm going to go with 1-0 in extra time. I think it will be 0-0. Yeah, I'm sorry. It'll be 1-0 and Timo Werner will come off the bench in extra time and score a tap-in. 1-0.
Great call. I think as in a win is a win, of course. We'll take that. But yeah, as in, again, that Super Cup and Champions League final tells me that somehow there'll be a goal in 90 minutes. But again, coming to you, Prasanna, what's your scoreline prediction?
I think it will be full. The classic Chelsea shithousery 1-0 in 90 minutes. I mean, how many 1-0 shithouseries have we seen? It's been countless.
Shithousery reminds me of Rudiger. So
yeah. I think we'll probably score off a set piece and
as in Silva scoring a Brazilian side would be great, right? I mean, that's imagine
maybe Silva or Rudiger. I mean, off a set piece. Probably.
We didn't actually speak about Brazilians. I know Jorginho also technically is Brazilian, but the fact that Kennedy is in the squad, I don't know if he'll add some value about educating our players about Palmeiras, because he was there. I think in between he had gone on loan as well. But yeah, great call there. Coachila, what's your score?
Of course, Silva would know because he is Brazilian, obviously.
Yeah, of course.
I think we will score 3 goals. I think we will concede 1.
Okay.
We'll concede 1. So we'll win by 3-1.
Interesting. And of course, I've taken a poll in the chat, and I believe there are about 68% still thinking that Chelsea is going to win. And let's actually go with that. As in, again, a win is a win, and we really need this. We want to, complete that trophy haul and then maybe focus back to the Premier League, which is what our bread and butter is. But yeah, then for now, we have to just focus on this big game. Again, thanks a lot for joining. Again, people who do watch it later on, I know it's an odd time in the part of the world I am, but certainly, great fun chat. And I'm hoping everyone who, watches this later on does check out the description. I'll add Taron's, social links as well, as always. So do give Taron a follow. But of course, give Prasanna Balakrishnan a great channel, upcoming channel. I love the channel. Do give him a subscribe, and Chelsea Perspective, Coachila's channel as well. And if you like Almighty Blues FC, I'm assuming, you would subscribe as well. And of course, thanks for watching. But any last words, Taron, from you?
Thank you for letting me drop in just to give my thoughts so late on. Great to be back on with the guys as well, the great panelists. And yeah, I think we'll win tomorrow, so quite happy.
That's the main thing.
Yeah, man. Start off this is where it gets real, because we have the Club World Cup, the Champions League games are back. We have our Carabao Cup final. This is where it gets tasty, and let's do this 2 cup finals in a space of 3 weeks. Let's do both of them.
Exactly. It's the Tuchel, getting like to a fifth final. It's not spoken of enough, but hopefully he comes back to the win. That's most important. But of course, thanks a lot, everyone. Peace out and up the Chels, and we will do it. Come on.